It started with silence. Not peace, silence. The kind that settles in when the war is over but the battlefield still smells like blood. After Lena's arrest, Nico and I went off-grid. No more syndicates, no more empires. Just burner phones, clean passports, and a quiet apartment overlooking the Adriatic Sea. I told myself I could live like this. That I didn't need power. That I didn't miss the game. But deep down, I knew better. You don't walk away from fire without carrying some of it with you. Nico tried to pretend he was fine too. He spent his days fixing up our safe house, learning to cook like someone with a normal life. But I could see it in his eyes, he missed the edge. The tension. The danger. He just didn't want to say it before I did. So we danced around the truth, pretending to be healed people. Until one night, the past knocked on our door, literally. It was Marcus. Bloodied, frantic, and holding a shattered phone. "We've got a problem," he said. I pulled him inside, locked the door. "Who found you?" "They call themselves the Varelli Group," he said. "Small-time syndicate trying to rise now that the Blackwells are gone. They've been picking off old allies. You and Nico are next." Nico cursed under his breath. I should have seen this coming. Power vacuums don't stay empty for long. "It's not just a grab for control," Marcus added. "They're looking for something called Project Dagger. Said it was hidden in Blackwell files." "Said you have it?" I froze. I remembered that name. Dagger wasn't just a file. It was a contingency plan. A master list of all underground operatives connected to the Blackwells, spies, smugglers, assassins, and double agents placed inside major global networks. It was leverage. And I had it. "No one's supposed to know that file exists," I said. Marcus looked pale. "They know. And they're killing everyone to get to it." After he left, I paced the length of the room. Nico watched me with his arms crossed. "We should have destroyed the files," he said. "No," I snapped. "We might need them." "You want to rule again?" "No, I want to survive." He narrowed his eyes. "That's not all you want." I faced him. "You think I miss being Arya Blackwell?" "I think you miss being powerful." I didn't answer. Because maybe he was right. That night, we moved locations. A villa in Montenegro, once used by the Carter family for quiet negotiations. Nico sat at the edge of the bed, checking weapons while I opened the laptop I swore I'd never touch again. Dagger loaded up. Names. Dates. Coordinates. Each line a possible enemy, or a possible ally. "We can sell it," Nico said. "Buy our piece." "They'll keep coming." "Then leak it." "No. If I leak it, the wrong people die." "You want to use it?" "I want to choose who gets to rise next," I said. "If we don't take control, someone worse will." Nico stared at me. "And what does that make us?" "Alive." The next morning, I sent 3 encrypted messages. One to an old rival syndicate leader in Prague. One to a bank contact in Zurich. And one to a name I'd never expected to use again, Sasha Vale. Nico's sister. A ghost in the underworld. A fixer. A ghost who hated the Blackwells as much as we did. Nico slammed his coffee on the table when he saw the name. "You reached out to her?" "She's one of the few people who can help us map the names on Dagger." "She doesn't help people. She destroys them." "Then maybe we're exactly the kind of people she'll work with." "She's not going to like that we're together." "Then we won't tell her." "She'll know." "Let her," I said. That afternoon, Sasha replied with a single sentence. "Meet me in Berlin." "Come alone." Nico insisted on coming anyway. I didn't argue. The reunion was tense. Sasha looked like him, same ice-cold stare, same sharp jawline, but where Nico was fire held behind glass, Sasha was pure frost. You brought your girlfriend, she said, her voice like a blade. I brought my partner, Nico corrected. She raised a brow at me. So you're the one he broke his contract for. The infamous Arya. That's me. Let me guess. You want to burn a city together next? No, I said. We want to build one. She laughed. Well, that's new. Then she poured herself a drink and asked to see the file. I handed her a secure drive. She plugged it in and scanned it quickly. I can map this, she said. I can name every syndicate that'll come for it. But once I do, you don't get to disappear again. You don't get a normal life. We were never normal, I said. Then say it, Sasha said, looking between us. Say you want the power. Say you want back in. I looked at Nico. He nodded, just once. I turned to Sasha. We want back in. Then buckle up, she said. Because the Varellis aren't your only problem. What do you mean? You leaked part of Dagger 3 months ago to frame Lena. One of the names on that list is hunting you now. A former Blackwell loyalist. Name's Cole. Trained by your father. Obsessed with restoring the old ways. What's he planning? He doesn't want to kill you, Arya, she said. He wants to turn you into the new Blackwell queen. I didn't blink. Let him try. We didn't sleep that night. Nico paced like a caged animal while I sat cross-legged on the rug, cross-referencing the dagger files Sasha had flagged. There were names I recognized. Ghosts from my past, people who used to take orders from my father before switching to the Blackwells. Cole was one of them. He'd disappeared after the Carter massacre. I hadn't thought of him since. But now, according to Sasha, he'd risen from the ashes like a fanatic priest of the old world. He didn't want revenge. He wanted resurrection. And he wanted me at the center of it. It's not loyalty, Sasha explained, sipping her second drink. It's obsession. He thinks you were chosen to restore order. That your survival proves you're meant to rule. He's wrong, I said. Nico leaned against the far wall, arms crossed. He's not the type you can reason with. No, Sasha said. He's the type you lure out and kill before he gets close enough to matter. He's already close, I said. We've been 3 steps behind him. He was the one who warned the Varellis about Dagger. He's the reason they found Marcus. And now he's using our own mythology against us. Mythology? Nico asked. The Carter girl who lived, Sasha said. It's already spreading. You're not just a target anymore, Arya. You're a symbol. And symbols start wars. Then we'll end it before it begins, I said. We left Berlin that night. Sasha promised to run interference, spread false sightings, leak Cole's location to 2 other rival crews. Meanwhile, Nico and I flew to Vienna, where a dagger name we could actually trust was hiding. Luca Miles. Former Carter accountant. Disappeared after the fire. Nico didn't speak much on the flight. I knew why. The old world was pulling us back in. Deeper. Dirtier. And this time, there would be no exit. You okay? I asked. He looked at me. You ever wonder what we'd be if none of this happened? Normal? Dead, he said. Or worse. Boring. I smiled faintly. You think we were built for this? I think we're the only ones who can survive it. We found Luca in a cramped apartment above an abandoned bookstore. He hadn't aged well, thinner, paranoid, fingers trembling. But his eyes still lit up when he saw me. Arya, he whispered. They said you were gone. Not gone, I said. Just hiding. I need your help. He let us in. Over tea and shaking hands, he confirmed what we already suspected. Cole had been using the dagger data to build a silent army. Not flashy. Not violent. Just, methodical. Recruitment. Funding. Blackmail. He wanted to rebuild the Carter Empire. Only without me in charge. He wanted to control me. Luca leaned in, voice barely above a whisper. He believes in you, Arya. Like your prophecy. But if he can't have you, he'll destroy you. And everything connected to you. Then we make sure he never gets close enough to try, Nico said. He's gathering them in Madrid, Luca said. End of the month. Private estate, off-grid. They're calling it the reclamation. Then we show up uninvited, I said. We prepared in silence. Nico cleaned the weapons. I burned every backup file of dagger we had, there would be no safety net this time. If we failed, there'd be nothing left to protect us. We landed in Madrid under fake identities. Stayed in a safe house on the outskirts of the city. I spent most of the time watching footage of the estate, memorizing every entry point, every security blind spot. I wasn't just planning an infiltration. I was planning a message. One that would remind anyone watching that I wasn't a pawn. I was the storm. The night of the gathering, I wore black. Not for stealth, for symbolism. Nico wore a tailored suit, pistol tucked under his jacket. He looked at me before we stepped out. You sure about this? If we wait any longer, he'll own the narrative. I'm done hiding. The estate was full. Men in suits, women in silk, whispers in 5 languages. They drank toasts to a future I had no intention of letting them see. Cole stood at the head of it all, tall, clean-shaven, polished like a politician. And when he saw me walk in, his smile didn't falter. He raised his glass. Arya, he said warmly. We've been waiting for you. You shouldn't have, I said. I'm not staying. Oh, I think you are. The doors shut behind us. Armed guards. No easy way out. Nico moved to my side. Tell me you have a plan. Sort of. Sort of? Step 1, I whispered, was getting us in. And step 2? I looked up at Cole and smiled. Remind them who they're dealing with. I reached into my coat, pulled out a small detonator, and held it up. There are explosives under the wine cellar, I said calmly. You've got 30 seconds to start listening before I decide this conversation is over permanently. Gasps. Movement. Nico tensed beside me, ready to kill if needed. Cole didn't flinch. You won't blow it, he said. You need them. I don't need anyone who thinks I'm theirs to control. You could be great, he said. You could rule the world. I don't want the world, I said. I just want you to stop pretending you own me. Then what do you want? I stepped closer, voice cold. I want my name back. I want my legacy clean. And I want you to remember that I survived everything for a reason. I wasn't made to be your puppet. You were made to lead. Then I'll lead on my own terms. I pressed the detonator. A small explosion rocked the edge of the property, not deadly. Just loud. Just clear. Next one's bigger, I said. Now who wants to follow me? And to my surprise, people stepped forward. Slowly. Carefully. But they stepped. Toward me. Not him. Nico leaned close. You just declared war. No, I said. I just won the first battle. Cole didn't speak. Not immediately. He watched the crowd shift toward me, his loyal recruits now unsure, hesitant, the air buzzing with betrayal. The detonator in my hand still glowed red. One more press, and half his fortune buried beneath that estate would turn to rubble. He finally raised his hands in a slow clap. Well played, he said. You always did know how to steal a room. I didn't lower my hand. You don't get to narrate this anymore, Cole. Your delusions of restoring the Carter dynasty with you at the helm, done. Your hidden network? Exposed. Your reputation? Mine now. You're making enemies, he warned. The kind who don't forgive. Good. That means I'm doing it right. He took a step forward. Nico raised his weapon instantly. Try me, he growled. Cole's smirk twitched. You should ask yourself something, Arya. When all of this is over, when you've clawed your way back to the top, will there be anything left of you worth saving? That's the difference between us, I said. I don't need saving. I turned my back on him, detonator still in hand. Nico backed away with me, our pace slow but confident as we exited the hall. No one stopped us. Not one of Cole's so-called followers tried to move. Power was a scent, and I had bled enough of it into the room to leave them all drunk. As soon as we reached the car, Nico floored it. The estate shrank behind us, quiet and untouched, no need to destroy it. The threat was enough. Nico kept his eyes on the road. That was insane, he muttered. Effective, I corrected. We just hijacked an empire, Arya. You don't do that and walk away clean. I don't plan to walk away at all. He looked over. You're serious. You said it yourself, we're built for this. I said we can survive it. I didn't say we should crown ourselves in it. We've been running. Dodging. Surviving. That ends tonight. We take what's left of the Carter legacy, what the Blackwells destroyed, and we build something new. Smarter. Sharper. Ours. You want to start a syndicate? No, I said. I want to start a kingdom. He was quiet for a moment. Then, and me? You're my king. If you want to be. Arya, don't, I said. Don't give me the speech about morality. We're past that. Then tell me something, he said, his voice low. If it comes down to power or love, which one do you choose? I looked at him. Why do you think I'm trying to build something where I don't have to choose? He didn't respond. But his hand reached for mine across the gear shift, and he held it all the way back to the safe house. The next few weeks were a blur of execution. Sasha secured us a core network of ex-syndicate operators who were tired of following old names. I sent encrypted invitations to the sharpest people left in Dagger's wake. No families. No heirs. Just survivors. We called it the Veil. It was Nico's name, but it was mine now too. The symbol of what we'd become. A sanctuary for those who didn't fit anywhere else. I structured it like an empire, but ran it like a shadow. No headlines. No bloodbaths. Just whispers in the right places. Assets moved quietly. Threats were absorbed or neutralized. Within a month, the world thought we'd vanished. In truth, we were stronger than ever. But not everyone wanted to let us stay quiet. The Varelli group resurfaced, angry, humiliated, and funded by someone new. A backer we couldn't trace. They started targeting our people. One by one. They want a war, Sasha said, tossing another burned safehouse photo onto the table. Then we give them one, I said. Nico shook his head. Too messy. They're baiting us into a public conflict. Because they think we're still playing by Blackwell rules, I said. Let's show them we've evolved. Meaning? We find the backer, I said. We cut off their funding. And we make them beg to disappear. Nico raised an eyebrow. And how do you suggest we do that? We bring them to us, I said. We fake a crack in the veil. Make it look like I'm losing control. That's dangerous, Sasha warned. So is breathing in this world, I replied. The bait was set the next day. A carefully leaked document, a fake internal dispute, a few whispers about Arya Carter being unstable. It worked. 3 days later, I received an invitation. A private meeting. Anonymous sender. But the location gave it away. An old resort owned by the Blackwells. turned into a private hunting ground. It's a trap, Nico said. Obviously. We don't walk into traps, Arya. We do when we're the ones holding the detonator. You and your detonators, he muttered. I smiled. They work. He kissed me once. Soft. Quick. You come back to me. Always. And then I walked into the trap. Smiling. Ready. Because this time I wasn't the girl begging to survive. I was the woman writing the rules. And if they thought they could bury me again, they'd never learn. The resort was quiet when I arrived. Too quiet. The kind of silence that meant someone had cleared the place for a private bloodbath. Just the way the old Blackwells liked it. I walked past marble fountains and empty halls, every step deliberate. I wore a white suit, elegant, untouchable, symbolic. I wanted whoever waited inside to remember exactly who they were dealing with. The meeting was set in the atrium. Glass ceiling. Surrounded by fake tropical plants. A paradise turned tomb. Fitting. 3 men waited for me. 2 guards I didn't recognize. And 1 man I did. Matteo Varelli. Mid-tier boss turned desperate little tyrant. He stood when he saw me, forced a smile. Arya. You're bold to come alone. You asked for me, I said. I assumed you wanted privacy. We have questions, he said, waving a hand. Concerns about your organization. Concerns about you. And here I thought you invited me to apologize. He laughed, a little too nervously. You built something impressive. But you're stepping on a lot of toes. My backer wants to know where your loyalties lie. Your backer? I echoed. You mean the one who helped you target my people? The one who told you to poke the bear and hope I wouldn't bite? He said nothing. So I kept going. I know who you're working for, Matteo. Do you? Cole. His expression twitched. You think he'd back someone like me? I think he'd use anyone stupid enough to think they were in charge. You're bluffing. Am I? I turned slightly. Go ahead. Ask him. The third figure stepped out from behind a curtain. Matteo stiffened. His guards reached for their weapons, but they stopped when they saw him. Cole. Calm. Dressed in gray. Still trying to play kingmaker. Arya, he said, smiling. You never disappoint. You do, I replied. I thought you were smarter. You came here. Alone. Unarmed. I'd say we're both making questionable decisions. Who said I came unarmed? I raised my hand. 2 soft beeps echoed. Then silence. Matteo frowned. What did you do? I brought friends, I said. They've been listening the whole time. My voice echoed from the speakers now. Surround sound. Live. Broadcasting across 3 encrypted channels to all of the Vale's branches. Everyone was hearing this. Cole's manipulation. Varelli's cowardice. Everything. You leaked this? Cole asked, voice tight. To your own people? They deserve to know the truth, I said. About who's trying to resurrect a corpse of a family. About who's using old power like a puppet. About who's trying to control me. Again. Cole stepped forward. They'll follow me, Arya. When they see what I offer, structure, strength, legacy, they'll follow me. They already chose, I said. You just didn't want to believe it. Matteo lunged for his gun. I moved faster. I ducked, grabbed a blade from my boot, and threw. Straight into his shoulder. He screamed. The guards reached for their weapons. Cole raised a hand. No. Let her go. Smart, I said, stepping over Matteo's bleeding form. Because the next one goes through your eye. This isn't over, Cole said. You think your new empire is stable? It's built on shifting sand. The moment you show weakness, they'll eat you alive. Then I won't show weakness, I said. But I will show them this. I turned toward the hidden cameras. You are not owed loyalty. You are not owed fear. And anyone who wants to take what's mine better be ready to lose everything trying. With that, I walked out. The air outside was heavy, electric. I didn't look back. Nico was waiting by the car, engine running, eyes locked on the atrium doors. Well, he asked. They got the message. Anyone dead? Not yet. He opened the door for me. Want to change that? I laughed. Maybe later. We drove in silence for a while. Then he said, that broadcast, it worked. The veils flooded with messages. Half the dagger ghosts are pledging to you now. The other half are offering alliances. And the Varelli group? Running scared. Cole's name isn't buying him protection anymore. I leaned my head back, eyes closed. It's happening. What is? Nico asked. We're not just surviving anymore. We're winning. He smiled. Does it feel like revenge yet? No, I said. It feels like destiny. That night, Nico made dinner. He wasn't good at it. Burned the garlic. Forgot the salt. I didn't care. We ate barefoot on the kitchen floor, cheap wine in stolen glasses. And somewhere between the second glass and the third kiss, he whispered, I'd follow you into fire, Arya. You already did. I'd do it again. I kissed him, slow and certain. Next time, let's burn the world together. Because I wasn't the girl they thought they'd control. I wasn't a legacy to inherit. I was a force to be reckoned with. And this empire we were building, brick by blood-stained brick, was just getting started. The next month was a storm. Everyone wanted a piece of the veil. Small crews. Exiled bosses. Even politicians pretending not to be dirty. The whispers spread fast. Arya Carter had built something stronger than the Blackwells, smarter than the Carters, and more terrifying than both. I didn't deny it. I let them believe whatever story made them afraid. Fear was good. It kept people in line. But power, real power, came from being indispensable. And that meant cleaning up what was left of Cole's influence. I didn't want him dead. Not yet. I wanted him irrelevant. Nico disagreed. He's going to keep coming, he said. He doesn't care about survival. He wants legacy. That's what makes him dangerous. And that's exactly why we don't kill him yet, I replied. We make him watch. So I sent Sasha after his money. She burned it. Every account. Every off-grid vault. Every crooked crypto wallet he thought was safe. Gone. We bought out the people who protected him. Hired the hackers he depended on. Leaked just enough dirt on his past to get him blacklisted from every major deal in Europe. Within 2 weeks, Cole wasn't a threat, he was a joke. But it wasn't enough. Not for me. I needed to end it face to face. So I called him. Not encrypted. Not disguised. Just raw and open. He picked up on the first ring. Arya, he said. I thought you'd be too busy playing queen to slum it with ghosts. Even queens like closure, I said. Meet me. Where? The ruins. Silence. Then, you think that place still exists? I know it does. I rebuilt it. I hung up. Nico wasn't thrilled when I told him. You're baiting him, he said. I'm inviting him to surrender. He won't. Then I'll bury what's left. You don't need to prove anything anymore. I'm not doing it for them, I said. I'm doing it for me. The ruins weren't ruins anymore. The old Carter estate had been quietly rebuilt, stone by stone. I hadn't told anyone. Not even Nico. It was my sanctuary. My secret. A reminder of where I came from and who I'd become. Cole arrived at midnight. Alone. Worn down. Not weak, but humbled. I waited for him on the back terrace overlooking the garden. The garden my mother once tended. The garden that burned with the rest of my childhood. It's beautiful, he said. It was never about beauty, I replied. It was about memory. You brought me here to kill me? I brought you here to offer peace. He laughed. You've destroyed everything I built. Because it wasn't yours to build. You think this kingdom of yours will last? He asked. The moment you show weakness, I've shown weakness, I interrupted. I bled. I've lost. I begged. And I survived. That's why it'll last. He took a breath. What do you want from me? Your word, I said. You walk away. No followers. No speeches. No legacy. You disappear. And if I don't? Then the next meeting won't be a conversation. He stared at me for a long time. Then nodded. You were never the air. You were the fire. Exactly. He left without another word. I watched him go, not because I feared he'd return, but because I wanted to remember the moment I stopped being angry. The next morning, I stood in the garden alone. Nico joined me quietly, a mug of coffee in his hand. You did it, he said. We did it, I corrected. No, he said. You were the one they feared. I was just the shadow at your side. I looked at him. You were never just anything. Then what am I? The only person I'd give all this up for, I said. He smiled, slow and stunned. Say that again. No, why not? Because if I say it again, I'll mean it too much. He leaned in, kissed me softly. I already do. That afternoon, I made it official. We gathered the heads of every faction under the Veil's umbrella. No titles. No blood oaths. Just one room, one voice. Mine. You're not here because I demanded loyalty, I told them. You're here because you chose me. And I don't lead through fear, I lead through clarity. We don't burn down cities for sport. We don't take what we can't protect. We are not the Blackwells. We are not the old Carters. We are the Veil. And we don't lose. They stood. Every one of them. Some raised glasses. Some bowed their heads. But all of them followed. And in that moment, I knew. I hadn't just reclaimed my legacy. I had reshaped it. Not a princess. Not a pawn. Not even a queen. I was the architect of an empire born from ash. And next to me, the man who once held a gun to my head now held my hand instead. We were untouchable. Unforgettable. And we were just getting started. We built the Veil like a myth, never fully visible, never fully reachable. It wasn't about territory. It was about control. Data, influence, reputation. While other syndicates threw bullets and bodies at each other, we infiltrated their bank accounts, whispered into their lieutenants' ears, and watched them crumble from within. That was our power. Quiet. Absolute. But power invites challenge. Always. It started with a message. A single phrase delivered in a silver envelope, sealed with wax. The architect has a flaw. I found it on my desk one morning, untouched by security. No fingerprints. No trace. Nico read it over my shoulder, jaw tight. It's bait, he said. Of course it is, I replied. But whose? Someone smart. Someone patient. Someone who thinks they know you. They're wrong, I said. No one knows me anymore. That night, we met with Sasha. She'd been running intel out of Prague, tracking the last remnants of the betrayal network and keeping tabs on external threats. But even she hadn't seen this one coming. Whoever sent it, she said, they didn't do it to threaten you. They did it to study you. The way you'd react. The people you'd trust. Then let's give them something to study, I said. I made a mistake that night. I moved too fast. Trusted the wrong silence. We raided an offshore base rumored to be tied to the message. It was a trap. No one was there, just cameras. Dozens of them. Recording me. My team. Nico. I didn't realize until the broadcast hit the darknet. Edited footage. Twisted narration. Headlines reading, "The veil is built on a lie." They accused me of staging Lena's fall. Of using Nico as a puppet. Of turning on my own allies. The footage was fake, but convincing enough. It's a smear campaign, Nico said. We've handled worse. Not like this, I said. This is surgical. This isn't an attack. It's a dissection. Then we flush them out. No, I said. We bait them in. I called for a gathering. One more than I'd ever allowed. Every ally. Every lieutenant. All of them under one roof. The rebuilt Carter estate. Again. I stood at the center of the hall. Calm. Controlled. The video was projected on the screen behind me. I didn't flinch. This footage, I said, was crafted by someone who knows how to manipulate shadows. Someone who wants you to doubt what we've built. But ask yourself this, what is their alternative? Chaos? Fear? Blood? I walked forward, locking eyes with each person. You followed me not because I promised you protection, but because I gave you purpose. So if any of you believe the lies behind that footage, leave now. No one moved. I continued. But if you stay, know this. We are being hunted by someone who thinks they can turn us against each other. So we'll turn the game instead. We'll find them. We'll expose them. And we will remind the world that the veil doesn't fracture. We sharpen. The room erupted in applause. Loyalty reaffirmed. But behind the scenes, I was boiling. Because I knew the truth. Only someone who had once been close to me could have pulled this off. Someone who had seen me vulnerable. Someone who knew how I thought. Nico paced that night while I stared at the silver envelope again. You think it's one of ours? He asked. No. I think it's one of mine. Past or present? Past. Has to be. Someone I left behind when I became this. Do you regret it? Leaving them behind? Becoming this? I turned to him. No. But I regret not finishing the job. We moved operations temporarily to a private island owned by Sasha's network. Smaller, safer, easier to control. I began running simulations, patterns, matching phrasing from the message to old dossiers. Eventually, a name floated to the surface. Riley Trent. Former Carter advisor. Presumed dead in the fire. He wasn't just a strategist. He was the strategist. My father's shadow. Brilliant. Ruthless. And if he survived, he'd be the only person capable of making me doubt myself. Nico read the report over my shoulder. If he's alive, he's been watching you this whole time. Then let's give him something to choke on. We leaked a fake document. A vulnerability. A fake betrayal between me and Sasha. Just real enough to catch a planner's attention. Within 48 hours, the bait worked. A new message. You're slipping, architect. Signed with a new name, the analyst. He's not just watching, I said. He's playing. Nico clenched his fists. So what now? Now, I said, we stop being reactionary. And start what? I looked up. A new war. He stepped closer. Arya, if you do this, there's no going back. There never was. I leaned into him, forehead against his. You still with me? Always. Then it's time we remind the analyst exactly who I am. Who's that? Not just the architect, I whispered. The one who designed the empire, and knows exactly how to tear it apart. We called the operation Shadowfall. Not because it was dramatic. Though it was, but because it was accurate. We weren't chasing Riley Trent. We were collapsing everything he'd built while he watched. Every asset tied to the analyst alias was tracked, traced, and eliminated. Slowly. Quietly. No news stories. No bodies. Just disappearances. One by one. Sasha led the digital front, deploying decoys across every node we suspected he was using. Nico reactivated his old contacts, the ones he hadn't spoken to since his Blackwell days. I took care of the rest. Meetings. Bribes. The kind of threats that came wrapped in champagne and silk. But the analyst didn't respond like we expected. He didn't run. He didn't retaliate. He praised me. Another message arrived. Gold-foiled envelope. No wax this time. Just a single card that read, "You're magnificent." And yet, unfinished. I crushed it in my fist. He thinks this is a game, I said. Nico stared at the note. He's not just obsessed with your power. He's obsessed with your choices. He thinks you've failed a test only he understands. Then let's pass it on our terms. A week later, one of Sasha's operatives found something. A transaction chain, dated back to before the Carter massacre. An account tied to Riley, used to fund a private operation called Project Adagio. Hidden under a shell company named Lyricon, the same name I hadn't heard since I was 15. It was an old alias my mother used to name her encrypted files. He's not just watching you, Sasha said. He's watching your family. That made it personal. I tracked the Lyricon shell to a private estate outside Zurich. Quiet, snow-covered, high security. I wanted to go in alone. Nico refused. If he's been waiting for this, he said, he'll be ready for you. You don't walk into that without backup. I'm not walking in as a soldier, I said. I'm walking in as his legacy. You're not his anything, Nico growled. You're yours. I kissed him, slow and certain. And I'm coming back to you. That's not a wish. It's a fact. He cupped my face. Good. Because if you don't, I'll burn the world to find you. You're romantic, I smiled. You're dangerous, he whispered. Perfect match. The Zurich estate was more fortress than home. Armed guards. Motion sensors. A steel gate that read Lucidus, Latin for light. The irony made me want to laugh. They let me in. I didn't need to show a badge or speak a code. The gates opened like they'd been waiting for me. Riley was inside. Older. Thinner. Eyes like needles. He stood beside a wall of monitors, each one showing footage from my life, moments only someone truly obsessed could have recorded. You've grown, he said. You've regressed, I replied. Still playing with shadows like they're chess pieces. And you've made an empire of them. How poetic. Why the games, Riley? Why now? Because I needed to see who you'd become. You could have just asked. You would have lied, he said. You always did. I was 17. You were destined. I was grieving. He tilted his head. And now? Now I'm done playing student. Pity, he said. Because I have one more lesson. I pulled the pistol from my coat and aimed. I didn't come here to learn. You won't kill me, he said. I'm the only one who truly understands what you've done. The architecture of your mind. The calculus behind every move. You don't understand me, I said. You dissected me. Same thing. No, I snapped. You watched me suffer. Watched me lose everyone. And you called it design. But I'm not your project. I'm your reckoning. Then pull the trigger, he whispered. Prove you've finally become the woman you were meant to be. I didn't blink. I didn't hesitate. I fired. Once. Through his shoulder. He collapsed, howling. I stepped forward and crouched beside him. You don't get to die clean. You don't get to be a martyr. You live. You rot. You watch me become everything you failed to predict. You're a monster, he spat. I'm an empire, I corrected. And you? You're forgotten. Nico and Sasha were waiting when I walked out. I handed them the files from Riley's servers, all of it. Blackmail. Secrets. Surveillance on other empires. Enough to destabilize the world if I wanted. You okay? Nico asked. I nodded. He wanted to prove I'd become like him. I proved I never needed him. What now? Sasha asked. I looked out at the snow, crisp and silent. Now we stop reacting. We start ruling. Sasha smirked. You already are. That night, I lay beside Nico in bed, staring at the ceiling. Do you ever think about what we could have been? I asked. If things were different? He wrapped his arm around me. Yeah. But I don't care. Why not? Because this is better, he said. This isn't a fantasy. It's real. And we earned it. I smiled in the dark. Because he was right. I hadn't just survived the past. I'd conquered it. And now, with him beside me, I wasn't afraid of what came next. I was ready. We returned to the Vale stronger than ever, but quieter. I made no grand speeches. No declarations of victory. Just silence. That's how you keep control. Let them think the storm passed. Let them think it's safe. Then you build something bigger while no one's watching. Sasha oversaw the cleanup of Riley's network. His files revealed more than I expected, deals I hadn't sanctioned, backdoors I didn't know existed, and most of all, a list of names. People he believed could replace me. He was grooming successors, she said. Contingencies. In case you disappointed him. Then burn the list, I said. If they're smart, they'll disappear. Nico didn't celebrate either. He went right back to work, securing our vaults, rotating our safe houses, running new drills with our inner circle. He didn't say it, but I knew. He was waiting for the next strike. And so was I. But it never came. Instead, something worse did. Peace. It settled over us like a fog, unnatural, too quiet. No enemies. No leaks. No whispers. Just, smooth operations. Profits. Loyalty. Efficiency. It should have felt like winning. But it felt like waiting. I kept expecting the sky to crack open. It didn't. So I turned my focus inward. I restructured the Vale from the inside out. Reduced hierarchy. Tightened protocols. Cut anyone who even smelled like ambition without restraint. Nico and I started doing more meetings together. Publicly. Deliberately. We weren't hiding anymore. We weren't tools of rival empires or pieces in someone else's legacy. We were the legacy. One night, after a gala in Rome meant to quiet rumors of dissent, we found ourselves alone on the rooftop of a glass tower overlooking the city. He handed me a glass of red wine, the skyline burning behind him. You ever think we've gone too far? He asked. Every day, I said. But that doesn't mean we stop. No, he agreed. It just means we make sure it's worth it. Is it? You are. I set the glass down. Then let's make it official. What? You and me. We built this empire together. Let's rule it together. Name it. Sign it. Put it in ink. His eyes softened. You want to marry me? I want to own everything with you. Romantic. I'm trying. He stepped closer, smirked. Say it again. The real version. I took a breath. Nico Vale, will you marry me? That's more like it. He kissed me, slow and certain. Yes. The next day, we made it legal. Quietly. Just us and Sasha and 2 guards who'd take the secret to their graves. I didn't wear white. I wore black. Because this wasn't a new beginning, it was the culmination of everything we'd fought for. And I liked the poetry of it. The headlines came days later, though we hadn't told anyone. Someone leaked a photo. Just our hands, linked, rings flashing. The King and Queen of Shadows. They called us that. I didn't hate it. But peace is temporary. And power always stirs the ones who thought they'd never lose it. 2 weeks later, Sasha brought me a name I hadn't heard in years. Mason Vale. Nico's older brother. Presumed dead. Ex-Blackwell operative. Former assassin. Gone rogue after Nico turned against the family. He's alive, she said. And he's not happy. Where is he? Building something. Small. Precision-based. A new creed. He calls it the blood mark. Nico stood across the room, arms crossed, silent. He didn't flinch. He's coming for us, Sasha added. For both of you. No, Nico said quietly. Just me. I looked at him. That's not how this works. He's my ghost. I'll handle it. You won't handle it alone. He finally looked at me. You don't know what he's capable of. Then show me. You don't want that. I want everything, I said. Even the parts that scare you. His jaw clenched. Then we move first. Sasha hesitated. You sure about that? Going after blood? Blood went after us first, I said. This isn't family. It's war. I waited until we were alone to ask the question I'd been holding in for hours. You never told me you had a brother. Because I didn't think he survived, Nico said. And because I was afraid that if he did, he'd take me back with him. He won't. How do you know? Because he'd have to go through me first. Nico looked at me. Really looked. I don't deserve you. No, I said. You deserve worse. But I'm giving you me anyway. We didn't sleep that night. The shadows were back. Not the kind we built, but the kind we tried to outrun. Mason was coming. And this time, the empire we'd built wasn't the prize. It was the battleground. And I wasn't sure how many pieces we'd still have when it was over. But I did know one thing. I wouldn't lose him. Not to blood. Not to history. Not to fear. I'd tear the world apart before I let anyone take him from me. Mason Vale struck at dawn. Not with guns. Not with bombs. With silence. 3 of our top handlers vanished overnight. No alarms. No traces. They simply disappeared. Sasha traced their last known coordinates to a location in northern France, an old Cold War bunker repurposed into a private facility. One of the names registered to the property? M. Vale. He's sending a message, Sasha said. He wants you to know it's personal. Nico stared at the screen. It's always been personal. He's your brother, I said. But he's not your family. Nico didn't reply. I could see it behind his eyes, the war inside him. The guilt. The fear. The doubt. All the things he tried to bury. I let him sit with it for a moment. Then I said what I knew he needed to hear. You don't have to face him alone. I do, he said quietly. He'll come for you next if I don't. Then let him. He looked at me, eyes fierce. I already almost lost you once. And I almost lost myself in this empire. Don't make me choose between keeping you safe and keeping you close. What if he turns me back into who I was, he asked. Then I'll remind you who you are now. That night, Nico left for France. Alone. He didn't tell me where exactly. Just left a note, trust me. I hated it. Every second of it. But I let him go. Not because I trusted Mason, but because I trusted Nico to come back. What I didn't expect was Mason calling me. He reached me through a secure channel I hadn't used in over a year. One I thought was burned. His voice was calm. Smooth. Dangerous in the way old wounds are. Congratulations on the empire, Arya, he said. You've made quite a name for yourself. It's a good name, I replied. Hard-earned. And yet, still borrowed. From shadows. From ashes. I made it my own. Did you? He asked. Or did you just wear it better than the ones who came before? You didn't call to debate legacies. No, he said. I called to offer you one last chance to keep Nico alive. My blood chilled. What are you talking about? He came here to finish things. I intend to let him try. But you and I both know how that ends. If you hurt him, I won't. Unless he makes me. You think you're doing him a favor? I think I'm giving him clarity. He's torn. Between who he was raised to be, and who you molded him into. You want him to kill me, don't you? I asked. To prove he still belongs to you. No, Mason said. I want him to realize he never belonged to anyone. That freedom isn't love. And loyalty isn't control. You don't understand him at all, I said. But I do. And that's why you'll lose. We'll see, Mason said. The line went dead. I didn't wait. I grabbed my gun, my tracker, and the encrypted signal Nico left behind. Sasha tried to stop me. He asked you to trust him. I do, I said. But I never promised not to follow. I found the bunker by midnight. Deep in a forest. Surrounded by fog and concrete. I breached the gate in under 3 minutes. The hallways were cold and metallic, the air humming with old secrets. I heard them before I saw them. Voices. Echoing. Nico's voice, low and tight. This ends now. You think you've changed? Mason snapped. You haven't. She just gave you a prettier leash. She gave me a choice. Then choose, Mason said. Me or her. I turned the corner and saw them, standing across from each other in the center of an empty room, guns drawn. Brothers. Shadows of each other. Both armed. Both silent. Nico, I said, stepping into the light. His eyes widened. Arya, no, he wanted me to choose too, I said. Between love and power. Between survival and control. I walked between them. But I already chose. I chose us. I chose something better than fear. Mason didn't move. Get out of my way. No, I faced him. You want to prove you're stronger? Fine. Shoot me. End it. But if you do, you'll never own him again. His hand trembled. Just a little. Then, he lowered the gun. You think you've won, he said. You've just postponed the storm. Good, I said. I like the rain. Nico stepped beside me. Mason looked at him one last time. You were my brother. You still are, Nico said. But I'm not yours anymore. Mason walked away. Into the dark. We didn't follow. Nico didn't say anything for a long time. I reached for his hand. He held it tightly. "You saved me," he whispered. "You came back. You weren't lost," I said. "You just needed to remember why you walked away in the first place." We left the bunker together. Silent. Whole. And I knew, in that moment, nothing could break us again. Not blood. Not enemies. Not history. We'd been forged in fire, sharpened by betrayal, and tempered by love. And we still had one part left to write. The ending. 6 months later, the world called us legends. The veil was no longer just a whisper in the shadows, it was a force. Not because we demanded it, but because we earned it. And we didn't just survive the attacks. We absorbed them. Adapted. Rose. We did what no other syndicate, family, or empire had managed, we brought the underground under one name. Not through violence. Through clarity. Through control. Through the quiet kind of fear that made people hesitate before saying our names aloud. I sat at the top of the Carter estate, our main base now, watching the city below burn with orange dusk. Nico stood beside me, one hand on my shoulder, the other tucked in his pocket like he wasn't the most dangerous man in the world. "So," I said, sipping wine. "You ever think about quitting?" He smirked. "Once. Then I remembered I'm married to the only woman more terrifying than I am. Flatterer. Truth-teller. We stayed like that for a while. No plans. No meetings. Just breathing. Then my phone buzzed. A private alert. One I hadn't received in months. A breach. Sasha burst into the room seconds later. "You need to see this." She tossed a tablet onto the table. A single headline flashed across the screen. UN investigates hidden superpower controlling global assets, codenamed the Veil. "Someone talked," I said. "No," Sasha said. "Someone wants to be seen." Nico crossed his arms. "Cole? Too clean for Cole. Too loud for Mason." This was planted. I leaned back. "A test?" "No," Sasha said. "A threat." We read the article together. It was vague. Speculative. But it named names, aliases I'd buried deep. Operations we hadn't touched in a year. "Someone's trying to pull you out of the shadows," she said. "Into the spotlight. Where you're vulnerable." I smiled. "Then let's give them a show." "What's the move?" Nico asked. I stood. "I speak." "To who?" "Everyone." That night, I issued a broadcast. Not encrypted. Not veiled. Public. International. I stood in front of a camera with the veil crest behind me and said the words I never thought I would. "You've heard the rumors. The shadows. The whispers of a name no one dares say aloud. I'm here to confirm them." Silence. Then, "We exist." The room behind the screen went cold. We are not a threat. We are not a myth. We are an answer. An answer to chaos. To lawless greed. To syndicates that have fed on fear without order. We are not here to rule. We are here to balance. And if you come for us, know this. You won't find a weakness. You'll find the architect. My name signed it, Aria Carter Vale. The response broke the internet. Some called me a terrorist. Others called me a visionary. Some demanded my arrest. Others begged for protection. It didn't matter. They were looking at me now. And you only fear what you can see. Behind closed doors, world leaders reached out. Quietly. Respectfully. Nico and I took their calls one by one. We didn't negotiate. We offered boundaries. No territory. No blood. Just balance. They accepted. Because the alternative was worse. And I wasn't interested in being worse. I was interested in permanence. Months passed. The veil didn't shrink. It stabilized. And then it grew. Nico and I ruled side by side, me the strategist, him the shield. And Sasha, our right hand. We didn't name successors. We didn't need to. Because we weren't planning to die. Not soon. Not ever. On the anniversary of the veil's creation, Nico took me back to the rooftop of the estate. Same wine. Same dusk. You remember what you told me back then? He asked. I said a lot of things. You told me you wanted everything. I smiled. Still true. Then tell me, he said. Now that you've got it all, what's next? I looked out at the world below. The lights. The lives. The silence. Now? I said softly. Now I protect it. And if someone tries to take it from you? Then I'll remind them who I am. He pulled me close. And who's that? I kissed him, slow and certain. I'm the girl who was reborn in the house of my enemies. I'm the woman who took their empire. I'm the queen who rules in shadows. And I, he whispered, am hers. We stood like that as the city held its breath. No crowns. No thrones. Just power. Just love. Just us. Unbreakable. Unforgiven. Unchallenged. Forever.